Let me show you my favorite carbohydrate sources. I've never been one of these no carb guys. I eat a lot of carbohydrates. Now, most Americans get their carbohydrates from gluten and sugar, or like a combination of gluten and sugar somehow, dough basically. Now look, if you enjoy some sourdough bread sometimes, I think that's totally fine. That would be the option I would go for if I'm going to eat bread. And while you'll sometimes see me use it in a recipe and eat it, I don't eat it as a main carbohydrate source. So let's go on to some stuff that I eat almost every day. I love white rice. It is a good carbohydrate source, and while it's not as nutrient dense as the carbs I'm about to show you next, I find that I make some rice once or twice per week. And back when I was in college and I had less money, there was more white rice for sure. Sweet potatoes are one of my favorite sources for carbohydrates. There are so many ways you can prepare them. They're rich in potassium, and I'm not against regular potatoes as well. People in the animal-based community will avoid potatoes for some reason. I don't understand why. The next big source of carbohydrates I consume is from fruit. Fruits are going to provide some really unique nutrition. Vitamin C, polyphenols, vitamin A, vitamin E with mangoes, stuff like that. Digestive enzymes in this papaya like papain. The next source of carbohydrates are veggies. Whether it's broccolini or carrots or Brussels sprouts, you do get carbs from veggies. Dairy. Some days, honestly, I can easily crush through like one of these. It's gonna give me about 40 grams of carbohydrates. Other sources like honey and maple syrup, I really don't consume a lot of, but I will use them. Honey in a Greek yogurt bowl, maple syrup in that protein hot chocolate that I made. These should be used sparingly, but I might consume about 10 grams of honey or maple syrup carbohydrates per day. Overall, my carbohydrate intake is going to vary based on the level of activity that I'm doing. So on a day where I'm going to jiu-jitsu, I'm surfing and lifting weights, I'm gonna consume more carbohydrates. I always tell people when they're trying to lose weight, use carbohydrates as a lever. Go a bit lower carb. I'm not saying no carb. Lower carb if you're trying to lose weight. And if you're trying to gain weight and bulk up, I highly recommend adding in a lot of those sources of carbohydrates that I just showed you. Let me know your favorite carbohydrate source below and save this video for next time you're hungry.